Vâng, lúc nãy có ông John có nói giải thích là sự hiểu, sự vô minh được bào mòn bằng dần dần bằng hiểu biết và chánh niệm. Thì cái câu hiểu biết thì nó cũng hiểu mơ mơ rồi, chánh niệm thì cũng hơi cũng lơ mơ lắm, nên là hiểu muốn ông John giải thích thêm cái chánh niệm nó rõ ràng và chi tiết hơn để nó hiểu thế nào là chánh niệm, chứ còn nghe chánh niệm nó sư vẻ chung chung này.
Vâng, hết câu
Đấy.
hỏi rồi đúng không ạ?
Vâng.
Dạ. So earlier you said that ignorance will be worn out by understanding and sati. So he had some vague understanding about the word understanding, but sati is not easy at all. So can you elaborate more about sati?
Understanding or panya is a mental factor that if it arises with a kusala citta, wholesome mental state. But it doesn't arise on its own. It needs other wholesome mental states to perform their functions at the same time. And sati is one of those mental states that arises with all wholesome cittas. And its function is not to be forgetful of the object in a wholesome way. And I think everyone has heard of the Satipatthana Sutta, which is a sutta about the different objects of panya, of sati and panya. This sutta gives particular emphasis to sati, but it's really about sati and panya arising together to understand the nature of the different conditioned realities. And the term used in that sutta, sati sampajanya, refers to sati and panya. Does that answer your question?
Nghe trả lời thế thì có rõ, nhưng mà kể mà ông John có ví dụ thực tế thì để nó có sự suy xét nó dễ hơn.
Can you give examples so that he can consider more easily?
Well, some people think of sati as a separate kind of kusala on its own. And they talk about bare awareness, having awareness of realities as though it's something that can happen with sati, with this awareness as the only kusala involved. And they think of it therefore as some kind of focusing to the object. But that is not how the Buddha taught it. He emphasized, I think, that if the Satipatthana Sutta is read carefully, that it's really about understanding of different kinds of different objects. The conditions for sati to arise are the same as those for the understanding to arise, and they arise together. So we don't need to think of sati, the awareness, as something separate from the understanding. And when there is understanding of a reality, it seems to me that it would be the understanding that is more prominent than the awareness factor. So are you interested in only sati or sati and panya? Add to that, as I mentioned earlier, this mental factor arises with every form of kusala. So with dana, generosity, or sila, restraint from unwholesome speech, deeds, or thought, or any other kind of kusala like metta, karuna, any kind of wholesomeness is accompanied by sati, awareness.
When we eat our lunch and are aware of the food that is being eaten and the different tastes and enjoy those different tastes, we may think that this is sati, but it's just conventional idea of awareness. At that moment, there's no kindness, there's no generosity, there's no understanding. Or the moment of walking carefully so we don't fall down in the streets where there are holes. We talk about walking carefully and being aware of where we put our feet. But this is conventional ideas of awareness. Or if we sit with our eyes closed and focus on an object and concentrate, we may think there is awareness at those moments. But it's just concentrating with attachment to a particular object. So again, it's just conventional idea of awareness. When the Buddha talked about awareness or sati, as Jonathan said, it must be wholesome factor. And now when we're talking about the understanding of the truth, understanding of seeing or hearing, at those moments, awareness arises with the understanding to be aware of that reality. So it's not awareness of where the feet are going or awareness of what food is being eaten. It's awareness of a Dhamma, of a reality that we've been talking about all morning. This is the sati that accompanies understanding in the development of the right path, the opposite of the wrong path, which is the following of wrong understanding, wrong concentration, wrong awareness, wrong effort. Any other questions, or is it a little bit clearer?
Bài Tích Lại Niệm xứ đấy thì có nói về tứ niệm xứ và bát sinh đạo là con lược độc đạo dẫn đến có sanh kiến quá để biết được
Để chấm dứt
biết
tận
được
diệt
để
phiền
cái
não
kiến
và
thì đó là có vẻ cũng là trong đó chánh niệm cũng là trong cái bài dạy của Đức Phật không ạ?
So he said that in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, so the Buddha said that that is the only way to the eradication of defilements and the experience of Nibbana. It's sati mentioned in that sutta. Is it part of that sutta?
Yes, sati is mentioned throughout that sutta, but usually in the context of sati sampajanya or some other word that refers to understanding. We don't have the sutta with us now, but just because the name is Satipatthana doesn't mean that that is the only reality that is being mentioned by the Buddha. If we read that sutta carefully, at each section it talks about the bhikkhu understanding some aspect of the reality being discussed.
The only way, the one way means the Noble Eightfold Path, beginning with right understanding and accompanied by right effort, right sati, and so on.